we don't teach in America. I don't know if they teach in Japan, but maybe more because it's Eastern at least. But even in school, we're not learning about the energy centers of the body. That if all matter is energy, like scientists will tell you this all day long, they don't even understand how it is that the body holds itself together, because at a microscopic level, there's nothing holding two cells together. It's just energy. And how fast something's vibrating makes it either solid or like water. You can put your hands through the matter, but in ice form, you can't, right? So that's because the vibration of the energy is either really slow or really fast. And people that can see auras, they have cameras now that you can see the energy and the heat coming off of things, right? So those cameras that are sensitive and can pick that up could see the aura Victoria's talking about, and how much our chakras are responsible for delivering the energy to certain organs and parts of our body. And our physical and spiritual and emotional body creates thoughts, energy, and vibration around ourselves. But when you learn about it, it's fascinating. And you wonder, because you want to scream from the mountaintops, wait a minute, you're saying anyone can heal themselves and anyone can heal anyone else, and nobody's learning this and nobody's receiving this? Why?
All I could hear when he was talking about the energy was Debbie saying, "We're all energy, right?" You remember Tadao on all these podcasts, and I'm like, "What the hell is she saying to me?" Because I couldn't grasp it, right?
Right.
And you're like, everything's energy. We're all the same thing, and I'm like, but we're not. Like, I'm not like a lamp, but everything's energy. And when you get it, you get it. But if you don't get it, like I didn't get it, but Debbie, you made me want to dig deeper and understand it. So I wasn't taught that in science.
No.
Or I skipped that day or something. I, slept
Our whole
on the
country
desk or
skipped that day.
Right. They don't want us to know that we can heal ourselves because Big Pharma don't want us to know. I said it, Big Pharma does not want us to know that we're okay. We're really okay.
So Tony Robbins, when he found out about it, he's such a big name, right? The person who created it and brought it together, and it was the Grand Master teacher. His name is Master Choa Koksui, and he's from Philippines, I believe. But so he passed it on to, I think there's 8 of them that are here in the world. Master Ko is the one that Tony Robbins employs, because when in every energetic experience, so whatever is happening around me all day long is affecting me energetically. So when you walk into a room and something feels wrong, it's that you're picking up on real subtle energy shifts and differences. When someone owns a house and you move into it, or you come into a hotel room space, whatever took place in there, unless it's been cleared energetically, we're going to feel what that is. If we're sensitive to it, we feel it even more. So eventually, you can feel this energy that we're talking about, and some people see it. The reason Tony Robbins, when he learned about what's actually happening, is when you're a speaker and people are in the room, thousands of people listening to you, they all energetically are mesmerized by you, want to be with you, are connected to you in some way. And there's actual energy cords that come from the person to the person that they're projecting their energy towards. So Tony, if you could picture that every person in that room has a cord attached to Tony, when Tony leaves a stage, not having touched anyone, but just energetically those people, and he's interacting with them, they're interacting with him energetically, all of whatever everyone's carrying out there in the audience is then in the outside of Tony's aura. If enough of that happens over time, you can see how a person could be affected by, it's like if germs were floating around you and you kept popping vitamins and plugging your nose, eventually those germs are probably going to get into you if you're not watching 24/7 to make sure you don't breathe those germs in, is the same way negative energy, thoughts, and other things start beginning to actually manifest themselves in physical form. So Master Ko
Also,
cuts all those cords for Tony and clears him after his
All
talking
right.
so that
that's
he can maintain
interesting.
his health.
That's interesting you say that, because when he first started doing my healing, he would say something and he would say, cut, 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 cut. So he was cutting those cords.
Yeah.
I call them vampires or energy suckers, because I can go in a room and I can tell you who's going to suck my energy and who's not. I can go in a thrift store and see the most beautiful antique and walk within 3 feet of it, and I know I need to get away from it. Something has happened around that piece of
Whoa,
furniture.
girl.
Like, I just know when things are going to happen. I have a huge, huge, huge intuition. And for years, I've thought, because of false beliefs or listening to someone say, oh, you're crazy, that's never going to happen. And then you read it on the news the next day. So I know that about the energy. I've always known that I could pick up on people's energy. I can pick up on people's heart. I know the intentions. I know the goodness or not, which always made me feel that I was the most judgmental person on earth. And it really wasn't about being judgmental. It was about, I can pick up on this energy, and this person really does not have my best interest in heart. Did I listen to it? Hell no. But I should have, or I wouldn't probably be going through what I'm going through now. And I'm saying that about relationships. And I think that being raised in a home with so much toxic energy, then when you're around other toxic energy, that's what's familiar to you. So you're drawn to that toxicity, you're drawn to that abuse. And it's not until you can get away from it all and really do a lot of work and a lot of discernment to realize I was drawn to that because that was familiar to me. That is all I ever knew, was the toxicity of life. But once you get away from that and you're around people and you begin to actually listen to your intuition and you actually listen to your heart and their heart, you realize that there are so many, many good people. There are so many, many good people. But I can see where Tony Robbins or even Jay or anybody that does these huge, huge things, you can just pick up on the energy. And in my job as a financial planner, I used to do 3 seminars a month at night, and I would have hundreds of people there. And I could tell immediately, when I walked on stage, if there was a negative energy, and I would always go to that negative energy and break it out. I would crack a joke to that person and lighten it up or whatever, but it was always like I could just see who that was coming from. And once it was detained and called out, it left, and it was okay. But it was really weird to feel that, and I can't describe it. And I'm in no way a fortune teller or psychic or any
I
of
wouldn't
those
say
things.
that there's no way, because there's something special that you're perhaps in tune to that others aren't. So that's could be just, I'll call it a gift.
I think it is a gift, but I think it's also probably saved my life on more than one occasion. Even when I was so young and green and gullible and naive, even when I found out something about somebody and I would want to deny it because I just didn't believe that about them, I just would know in my gut that it's time to cut the cord and leave this friendship or
Wow.
whatever relationship.
And it's true when you use the word light. I think you used that earlier to describe that you're feeling light now, and it's that actually that's a real thing, right? When we feel heavy or something is
Yeah.
like negative and depressive, you can feel. It's not a joke when people say like there's a dark cloud over someone, or the weight that the room just felt really heavy. Lightness is exactly what those words are also tied to the way the experience of feeling energy is, which is so funny until someone tells you that. You're like, oh, that's so obvious that
It
I feel a
it
lightness. And like the
is.
presidents and the Pope and people like that, they say what those people go through physically, you watch them turn gray within a year or two of a role like that,
Oh,
because their bodies
absolutely.
and I'm guessing now, right? I've never thought of it, but if that story about Tony Robbins and speakers on stage, they're ministering to
Can
the
you
world, to
work?
large masses
Yes.
of people that are turning their energy towards that one being. No wonder that if
Right.
they aren't taking extremely good care of themselves,
Uh-huh.
how that
Uh-huh.
would be so heavy in their own experience
Yeah.
of life, right?
And
Crazy.
I think of Barack Obama when you say that, because he was probably one of the younger
Young.
presidents, yeah, that we had. And he aged 60 years in 8. But you can imagine standing on national television with haters that just hate your guts, not to mention the mail and the hate and keeping people off of the lawn. That has to be heavy. And I say that because even if you are in a household with parents and there's heaviness in that relationship, I've seen in myself and other children, your little shoulders begin to droop. The heaviness is there. I've seen so many times when a woman divorces, if she has a son especially, his shoulders begin to droop because he feels like he's carrying the weight of the whole family. He's the only man, he's the man of the house now, whether he's 4, 14, or 40.
I'm just so happy for you and the feeling of lightness that has begun. And what I love
It's
too is
really
that
great.
in, there's so many different ways to heal. But the energy, when we call that divine energy down into us and through us, it also goes through us. So we actually heal ourselves as we're healing others. And in fact, more energy stays with the healer than the person they're healing. So Bill's like, what kind of gig is that? It's a win-win situation
That's
to
the
be
best
divinely filled
addiction.
with
Yes.
light and love from God, and then being able to pour that on people. You said, Victoria, when I
That's
opened the
it.
door, everyone told me,
Uh-huh.
don't you dare look out that door, because you
Don't
know
you
what's going to
dare.
happen if you do. You're going to blow up and die. And then you find
You're
out, no, there's
struck. Yeah.
an amazing, huge world and life out there. And you kind of like have to grieve the fact that you felt like deceived that whole time.
Exactly.
But there was a
Exactly.
reason why the timing was right to open the
And
door.
the beautiful thing about that, Debbie, to me, and Tadao, you will appreciate this, is God is a gentleman. He knew this all the time. He knew he could have told me that in prayer, whispered it in my ear, hey, this is what you need to do. He started introducing me to people and different things in different circumstances. And y'all have a big part of that. But he's such a gentleman. He never said, Victoria, go do this. Quit leaning on me to heal you. I have people out there that can do that. Quit praying about it and crying about it every day and go do the thing. He waited until my heart was ready to receive the information and the healing before the door was fully opened, which is, I think, to me, such a beautiful thing that, and he's always been that way with me. He's always been just such a gentleman and let me be a hell raising heathen. And then like, okay, well now are you ready? Because I'll show you a little something, something. But you have to be ready, and you have to have an open mind to it, like you said, Debbie. And not everybody does. Like you never mentioned it until I did. You never once said, hey, Victoria, if you're hurting, I know a guy. Whereas here I am, I'm so excited about it. I'm like, Tadao, you got to do this, man. You got to do this. I think working with as many people as you do and all the different energies, and look at what you've been through over the last couple of months, a death, sending a body home, so much with your employees, just to kind of rinse off some of that heavy, heavy stuff and negativity. You would feel like you were, a 15-year-old kid again. It's truly amazing. And I'm not forcing you to, but I kind of am. But for the
It's just
sake
a
of the
lot to
podcast,
take in, right? Because like
it
we're
Yes.
talking
is a
about,
lot.
mindset or feelings, I'm already outsider in my community. To talk about mindset and
Yes.
feelings, and now, like, I cannot speak spirituality right now because, like, I am Victoria, like, few years ago.
Right. Right. And
Yeah,
that's okay. It
it's
took
very
me a
new to
minute
me,
too.
right?
Right.
But at the same time, I believe in the energy, right? You want to be
Yeah,
surrounded
science.
by
Yeah.
these positive
Yeah.
energies, and you sense it. Like, especially, like, I think I'm very sensitive to receive, like, a feeling the
Yeah.
energies. So, like, when people are having a bad time, I can sense that. It makes sense. Like, I'm taking a lot of people's energy in, especially, working in hospitality industry, meeting hundreds of people every day. It's a lot to take in. Like you just talked about cut the cord. It just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. And he kept saying, and I didn't remember that until Debbie was talking about
Hmm.
like all the chords. But if you look at it, you have 30 employees. You might as well have 30 nipples because every time you walk in there, they're sucked
That's a great
like,
visual.
I mean, they're like puppies just sucking off of you all the time,
Don't cut my
right?
nipples.
I know, no, but I'm saying you need 28 more.
That would be painful. Ooh.
That's quite a
Absolutely.
surgery, cutting 28 nipples.
And when you learn the
No, just
techniques, you
give
can
it.
actually
Technique to cut off my
block yourself
nipples.
from the cords being attached to you. Also, I believe that you can learn that technique of surrounding
I
yourself with
wouldn't.
a protection as well. So whatever we can learn, I mean, I guess that's the
You know
mode that
what?
I'm into when my eyes are opened. When you feel like, whoa, I was really blind in this department.
Like, how have they hidden this long, right? But
Except, yeah.
but Big Pharma doesn't want to heal a lot of things because they
That's
want to
right.
sell the medications. I mean, I think it's good for certain things. 30 years ago, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And the first thing they said is, you're depressed, you need to be on this. Finally, I was like, none of this is helping, and I don't even know my name in the morning. So I took myself off of all of that because I was not depressed. I was in pain. I was not depressed. So honestly, I think 30 years ago, I was actually misdiagnosed and I had a shitload of negative energy and I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know how to get rid of it. And it just is like a magnet. It just kept coming. And I didn't know what to do with it. Um, Having gone through that, and I mean, I don't think I can go anywhere but up, because I feel better already. I don't think that anything can happen except I will be 137 years old still talking about energy and how people can heal themselves and all the things. It's just a beautiful thing to know that we were created for more. And once we find out what the more is, then we realize that there's actually probably more than that. And I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it makes creation. I look at flowers differently now. I look at the trees differently. I look at life so much differently. And I'm just grateful that at this point in my life, God knew I was ready. And I was intertwined with y'all and people that we could talk about anything with and not feel crazy. We're safe here. Because there are people I could walk up to and they'd be like, you better watch out. You're going to get struck by lightning if you talk about that. And it's not like that.
Hey, it's Debbie. Join us each week on Tuesdays by clicking the subscribe button. And while you're at it, give us a like. We'll see you next week. Thank you for being on this journey and keep being your most authentic self.